Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. Today we're going to be covering the Bronco Sport. In particular, we've got the big bend in our hands, thankfully, graciously provided by Valley Street Ford. So I'm going to be reviewing this vehicle in and out. I'm going to be putting it into the corners, putting it ever so slightly sideways, giving it a little bit of gas, a little pedal to the metal to test its acceleration and also its acceleration noise. We're going to go through the whole inside of the vehicle. We're going to check out every nook and cranny. Really we're going to be covering everything you need to know about the Bronco Sport, such as price, power specs, engine options, because there's two. There's two real nice engine options. Real surprised out of the 1.5 liter EcoBoost, and I am really excited and looking forward to sharing my impressions with you of the 1.5 liter EcoBoost, because it's not at all what I expected. We're going to be covering also, of course, size and volume of the vehicle, towing capacity, and roof weight capacity, both on the move and stationary, because those two are quite different, to make sure you don't break your Bronco and that you don't get the wrong Bronco. Speaking of which, I don't want you breaking the bank on the Bronco, because we all know the big Bronco has more capacity. You know, it's higher, it's got better angles for off-roading, it's got more power, but it might just break your bank. And the Bronco Sport probably isn't going to break your bank, and especially if you look at the Big Bend model, this could be the perfect model for you. I'd almost argue that it is the best bang for the buck. It's got looks, it's got surprising power. Did not expect what I got out of the 1.5 liter EcoBoost. So we're going to be covering this no break bank Bronco, and we're also going to be covering how everyone is calling it a Baby Bronco. I absolutely would argue that this is not the right name for it. There's nothing baby about this Bronco. This is the Bronco Sport. It's got off-road capability if you get the right Bronco. So of course I'm going to be talking models. If you do get a Bronco Sport, I want you getting the right model, and I'm going to be suggesting right now, Baby Bronco is not the right name for this. I'd say the big Bronco, we should refer to it as the topless Bronco. And anyways, topless, that does sound awfully exciting. And this, is the Bronco Sport. And I'm going to be telling you all the way through why this deserves its Bronco Sport name, does not deserve the baby name. This is no, highly inferior baby brother. This does the job, and it'll do the job if you get the right Bronco. So we're going to be covering about how to get the right Bronco. We're going to be covering all the special features of this vehicle, like the GOAT modes, all the visual features. We're going to be going over every single nook and cranny. I'll lift the carpets even on this to check things out. So we're going to learn everything we need to know. We're also going to be covering fuel economy versus the Escape. This difference in fuel economy, even though it's using the same motor and same transmissions, the same motors and transmissions as the Escape, same platform, it's quite different in pretty much every single respect, even fuel economy. And that difference in fuel economy probably can be correlated or put towards what we can assume to get out of the big Bronco. So, I haven't been getting a lot of views anytime I talk about anything other than the big Bronco, or the topless Bronco as I now like to call it. And I'm wondering, leave me feedback. Should I just be covering the topless Bronco, or, does it make use to be covering other Ford products? I certainly am having fun covering all other Ford products, but I'm not sure if the community here is really into that, and I would love to grow the community because the community's been great. People, like George Washburn have been leaving comments that really help me, help us all, because, some people are leaving amazing comments for all of us, so keep that up. People have been giving me ideas to do new videos, and I certainly do enjoy that. I enjoy the feedback, I enjoy the positive, and also the you could say the constructive criticism is certainly helping me out as well. So, to encourage that, I've got a goal. I'd love to get to 1,000 subscribers, and to get there, something that would really help me out is if you like this video and you like all my videos early on. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And when we do get to 1,000 subscribers, if someone wants to leave a comment saying that they've shared one or more of the videos 10 times, well, I'm going to be picking someone from random to send them a Bronco sweater to, thank them. And it's going to be the same Bronco sweater that I'll be wearing in my future videos, hopefully when my Bronco comes in. So let's hope we can get to 1,000 subscribers. I would certainly like to have the support that helps me to continue this channel going, and it'll also help me create better content. Now, all right, as promised, I'm going to take this vehicle a little bit sideways. I'm going to do a little bit of acceleration, but that's going to be a little bit later on in the video. We are going to cover price, and I would argue that the Big Bend is the best value option. Okay, so let's just jump right in case you're thinking, hey, 1.5 liter EcoBoost 3-cylinder engine, that's not for me. Forget it. This video does not work. I would never be interested in that. Hear me out. I'm going to start with the bad boy, the Badlands. That thing is made for anyone that wants performance. I've driven a lot of escapes with 2-liter engines many times, every year. I love that engine. Now, the Bronco, of course, is a little different, but it's got the same 8-speed transmission. This is starting to become a proven transmission. I'm not having issues with it so far, so the reliability is very good. And the 8-speed transmission offers your earlier gears, like first and second, to be extremely, pretty darn aggressive, which is helping with, should help with slow speed acceleration, when you want to kind of move around at slow speeds. And the higher gears, of course, are good for fuel economy. But, if you're thinking that the 1.5 liter rate off, if I'm not able to convince you that it's a pretty darn good motor, you've got the 2-liter turbo, and that's only available on the Badlands. The Badlands is the most off-road Bronco Sport you can have, and it is pretty actually is pretty off-road. The angles, breakover angles and departure angles are really good. But let's just quickly review that engine. That's a 245 horsepower 4-cylinder engine, and it's the more potent of the 2 power plants. It has an enhanced all-wheel drive system that only comes on the Badlands. So you get the enhanced all-wheel drive system that's better at distributing power unevenly to all the wheels, and I'll explain that in a bit. That goes on with the back differential system, the transfer case, you could say. So the Badlands has a lifted suspension and upgraded dampers. Those upgraded dampers are going to be especially made for tackling rugged terrain, and when I look forward to test driving that. I'm going to have a Badlands video coming out as soon as possible to do exactly that. Obviously we know it's going to be good in regards to off-road, but I want to test it out on-road and compare its quality and drive to the other models. So it's got upgraded dampers for tackling rugged terrain. Now, other than the 245 horsepower, what's really impressive about the Badlands edition is that it also has 275 pound-feet of torque available at low RPM. And that's another reason why I'd argue that the Badlands really is good for off-roading. You don't necessarily have to get a topless or big Bronco to have a machine that you can go camping in the wilderness with. Now, I'm not going to talk about the first edition because Ford's only building 2,000 copies and they're all sold out. But the Bronco Sport, when you do look at the first edition, just quickly mention, it's got all the goodies that the Badlands has. It has pretty much all the goodies of all the models and then some. But no one's going to be getting those other than the lucky 2,000 people who've already pre-ordered them. So no need to go too far into detail. So the Badlands in the first edition pack an assortment of exclusive equipment. So if you're thinking of ordering a Badlands, you're gonna get a twin clutch rear drive unit with differential lock. So, differential lock is great because you can lock the diff so that both rear wheels turn at exactly the same time. That's good if you're stuck, quite stuck, if you're not jacked up from mud or rocks underneath the middle of the vehicle. You're going to be able to get out of that situation because of the locking rear diff. And the twin clutch rear drive unit is excellent for distributing power unevenly between their two back wheels at a very high speed to help you, when you are high speed off-roading. It's going to help you, stay under control, stay in a straight line, and it's also going to help distribute the power when you're stuck. They won't just send all the power to the wheel that has, less traction, which is pretty deadly. That'll end a day pretty quick unless you have a winch on the front of the vehicle. Now, the Badlands also comes with a 1-inch suspension lift for added ground clearance and stouter shock absorbers. So it's made to take, not necessarily a hit when you're driving and, the weight goes up on the vehicle and then comes right back down. It's made to deal with those, quick changes of, elevation, I guess you could call. Now, let's get into fuel consumption. The EPA estimates the 3-cylinder Bronco Sport will earn 25 miles per gallon in the city and 28 miles per gallon on the highway. Stepping up to the more powerful 4-cylinder engine, which is only available on the Badlands, is going to give you 21 miles per gallon on the city and 26 miles per gallon on the highway. I'm going to go and get into the exact numbers, but that's about a difference of 3 miles per gallon with the Ford Escape. Now, you're getting a 400-watt power inverter also out of the Badlands. It's really made to go off-roading, camping. You've got, that electric plug to, help you out, whatever slight meal cooking, whatever is under 400 watts. So more about the Badlands. Its ground clearance is 8.7 inches, and all the other models have a ground clearance of 8.1 inch. In both cases, 8.7 is really good out of this category of a vehicle, out of the price. So it is capable for off-roading. Now, on to the Big Bend. Big Bend in every single other motor has a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine of 181 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque. Now, thankfully, that torque is made at low RPM. So, all through my road test, every time I stepped on the pedal, I expected to be disappointed. I really needed to convince myself. I had to have it, had to do it, 7-8 times before I was like, hey, you know what? The 1.5 liter, it's got decent acceleration. I like the feeling. Now, we say decent acceleration. The reason I thought I'd be so disappointed is for the numbers, the 0 to 60 miles per hour is 8.6 seconds. So in my head, 8.6 seconds to get to 60 miles per hour, this thing is gonna feel slow. And, because of gearing and the turbo engine with its, high torque at low RPM, it really does not feel slow. It feels a heck of a lot faster than 8.6 seconds. Where it started to actually slow down was, more around 45 or 50 miles per hour to the 60 miles per hour. I'd say that's probably where I didn't feel it being as quick as when I was at low speeds and I gave it some gas. So this thing is going to be good for accelerating, passing, I should say. And, it'll be pretty darn decent for some off-roading because of that low end torque. You don't have to, this, people often think, they figure 4-cylinder, you need to be at 5,000 or 6,000 RPM before you start to get power. This isn't VTEC. A lot of those 4-cylinders we had in the 90s and early 2000s that, we all drove, and that people basically have formed their opinion on 4-cylinders. That was all based on vehicles that you had to get really high up in the RPM, the revolutions per minute, to get anything out of the vehicle. I'd say this is the opposite. This is a 3-cylinder, and I was getting a whole lot out of the vehicle at low revolutions, and I absolutely loved that feeling. That was great. Now, moving on, the 2-liter with its 245 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque do 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, and that is really respectable. And once again, from my road tests and drives of an Escape 2-liter, I'm gonna suspect that it's gonna feel unbelievably fast when you first step on the pedal, and where you're gonna sort of start slowing down a little is between 50 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour. That's where you might feel that it's not quite as fast. And you know, to relate this to a V8, oddly with my Mustang GT, my 2018, I really feel it's extremely fast when you're going, you know, from 40 miles per hour to all miles per hour. I won't share what kind of top speed I've done in that vehicle. You know, this is public, but after 40 miles per hour, it really lights up. You know, it lights up around 3,500 to 4,000 RPM, whereas these vehicles, I really feel they're lighting up and, you know, giving me a really enjoyable drive as soon as you touch the pedal. And these aren't motors that are having a ton of turbo lag. I'm impressed. The turbo lag is extremely minimal. Now I promised to talk about the volume. The trunk volume is 32 cubic feet with all seats in position. The rear seat with the rear seats folded, you're gonna get 65 cubic feet. And that's enough to put in 2 mountain bikes thanks to the lifted rear roof. You see it right here up top. The roof lifts up. That isn't just visual, and it looks great. It kind of has like a safari look to it, I think Ford's calling it. Visually, that looks amazing, but that's also extremely practical. I was sitting in the back seat and I had a ton of headroom, and I completely can believe you can throw in 2 mountain bikes, and that because of that lifted roof, they'll fit in there. And Ford believes it too, because they'll actually sell you the bike rack right in your order. You can just plug it in. It's about $225 US, and they'll send you a bike rack for the inside of the vehicle that you can just park your bikes right in there and just head right off to the trails, if you know you're not taking the vehicle to the trails. And if you are, of course, the Badlands with its better breakover and departure angles and higher clearance is going to be better. Now, towing for the 1.5 liter is 2,000 pounds and 2,200 pounds for the 2 liter. I don't get this one, because the 2 liter on the Edge or the 2 liter in the Escape, you're pulling 3,500 pounds. Why with the Bronco is it 2,200 pounds? I don't know. But what I can tell you is this isn't the only difference that this has with either an Edge or an Escape. You know, we've been going around the vehicle here. By the way, this little camera has its own cleaner. When you hit the cleaner for the rear window, as you can see I did right here, it's gonna shoot a jet of windshield wiper fluid on that rear camera, so you don't have to be rubbing it with your thumb and scratching it all up. So that's really cool, and it's just one of so many differences that this Bronco has with other Ford products. Normally, to get, you know, a vehicle that really feels like, oh boy, this is really equipped, you got to go higher up on the trim levels. And you know, the Big Bend with the Big Bend package, which is about $1,500, is awesome. It had electric seat. It had basically everything I would want out of a vehicle. And of course, if you want leather, you got to go with an Outer Banks. The Outer Banks is your city comfort edition. But your Big Bend, when you throw in the Big Bend package, you're getting everything you need. You're getting the heated seats, you're getting a driver's electric seat, you're getting a power moonroof, reverse sensing system, you're getting a leather-wrapped steering wheel, you're even getting a wireless charging pad for your cell phone. And normally, out of other Ford products, if you want that wireless charging pad, you know, you're paying, you know, a top model. So I think The Big Bend, if you're not going to go off-roading with the vehicle, is with the right package. The Big Bend package is just amazing value for the money. Now, if you do get a Badlands, what's really cool is you have almost 2 feet of water fording. So the Badlands, water fording, that's when you're, going through, crossing a stream or a brook or whatever it may be, not a river. You've got almost up to 2 feet before, you have any issues of any mechanical or any issues. So you see, 20 inches, 18 inches of water, go for it, have fun, get a little wet. Now, onto the roofs. I think this is really important to talk about because, we can see pretty often, hey, the roof, you can put 600 pounds on the roof. You got your tent on the roof, 600 pounds. So everyone's going to be thinking and remembering, hey, I got 600 pounds I can put on that roof. That's stationary weight. If you don't want to, dent your roof or go through it, you wouldn't actually go through it, but you could dent it pretty bad. The 600 pounds is when you're not moving. Otherwise, if you're on the move, you got 150 pounds of on the move roof cargo weight. So I don't want anyone out there having issues with the Bronco Sport. I want them getting the right model. This is why I've been in the background. You can see the different model highlights to give you a really quick summary. You want leather and standard heated seats, go with an Outer Banks. If you want, you want heated seats and electric driver's seat, go with a Big Bend with the Big Bend package. If you don't need all that stuff and you just want a great looking vehicle, the base is pretty awesome. It's great value. All Broncos come with 4x4. They all have that flip up rear glass we've seen in the video. They all have the safari style roof, and they all have the terrain management system, the GOAT system, the GOAT modes, which goes over any terrain. So that's going to help get you around all over. And the best part, they all have 8-inch touch screens, which has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and they all have Ford's Copilot 360 system. And what that's offering you is the blind spot detection. When you're backing up, it's going to beep if someone is, cross traffic alert, if someone's on their way to hit you. They all have lane keeping system. They all have automatic high beams for the headlamps. They all have a rear view camera. So, a base comes fantastically equipped. Now let's check out that 1.5 liter engine. So here we have just a bit of a little road test, a little bit of sound under acceleration. I just want to show you, put this vehicle slightly sideways. I tried, and it really wants to keep itself under control. But of course, if your daily drive or occasional drive is going to consist more than just a snowy gravel road, what I suggest is getting the Badlands model. That's my tip, because the Badlands model comes with that advanced 4x4. It comes with a twin clutch rear drive unit for more effectively distributing power in a manner that should really help you not get stuck. So, if you're going to be doing any medium to serious off-roading, get a Badlands. You're going to love that engine. You're going to absolutely love the 29.9 degree approach angle and 33.2 degree departure angle, and you're gonna love the 8.9 inches of clearance because the suspension, the vehicle gets lifted. The suspension is an inch higher. So, that's my advice. If you don't need heated seats, go with a base. This vehicle, Bronco Sport, comes amazingly equipped. If you need heated seats and an electric seat for the driver, get a Big Bend with Big Bend package. And of course, if you want leather, well, Outer Banks is the model for you. And I hope no one's going to avoid getting a Bronco Sport because of fuel economy. Yes, there is about 7% difference in fuel economy between a Bronco Sport and an Escape. That 2 miles per gallon with the 1.5 liter, 3 miles per gallon difference between a 2 liter Bronco Sport to a 2 liter Escape. And there is a difference between the 1.5 and the 2 liter, but honestly, you look at the bottom of that page, it's $200 a year. Do we need to really get bent out of shape and buy or not buy a vehicle based on $200 of fuel per year. Because what I can tell you is, miles per gallon are really important too. And this vehicle gave me a whole lot of miles per gallon. It is pretty darn fuel efficient, and a 7% difference, which works out to $200 a year, is not going to discourage me, and I hope it's not going to discourage you from considering getting this vehicle. The Bronco Sport was a heck of a lot of fun to drive. I enjoyed the 1.5 liter turbo acceleration. I have always loved Ford's 2-liter turbo engine. It's a beast with its 245 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque available at low RPM. It's an amazing engine. And, are there engines out there that are slightly more fuel efficient? Yeah, probably, and I don't really care. For $200 a year, I want to be happy. The miles per gallon are important, and the road test of this vehicle was awesome. It's got good acceleration, it's got good low-end torque. It was enjoyable in the bendies. I enjoyed it in the curbs. It really sticks to the road. You'd think a vehicle that looks this wide and this high would have a lot of weight shift in the corners, and I absolutely despise weight shift, and I did not have any issues with weight shift. This really stuck and glued in the corners. I wasn't being tossed around, off ramps and on ramps to the highway. I took them at, good speeds, and it really was a solid vehicle. And here's the big surprise. I did not feel whatsoever like I was driving an Escape. This is unbelievably different. It looks really different on the outside because it's big, square, and boxy. The inside is, because it's big and squared and boxy on the outside, well, the inside, there's a ton of volume. You really feel like you're in a big vehicle. And, this really wide hood, we've been seeing these road tests. This wide hood was awesome. Being that you can use this vehicle for camping, you can have 600 pounds on the roof, 150 pounds if you're on the move. I really feel like this is a versatile vehicle. I feel that Ford really, is going to have a huge success with this, and I really hope people consider test driving it. I was unbelievably surprised. I thought I would not like that 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine, and I actually liked it quite a bit. And the Bronco's got a lot of nice little touches. The LED lights in the front with kind of the topless Bronco is signature lighting on Outer Bank models and up. The Big Bend model has it. They all have it. It's got fantastic looks. They've got great colors. The extended roof makes this vehicle practical for, head space and also for putting your bikes in the back. You've got keyless entry. You've got just overall a vehicle with great looks, front to back, LED lights in the front, LED lights in the back. You've got, blind spot detection, backup camera that cleans itself with a little wiper jet. I got a lot of surprises out of this vehicle. All the little touches, the Bronco lettering, the kicking pony throughout the vehicle, the fact that on a Big Bend, which is the second least equipped model, you can have wireless charging and heated seats, those amazing lights, great looking mags. This vehicle never stops to surprise. Even the auto dimming function on the rear view mirror. I didn't expect this out of a low trim level vehicle. It's got the goat terrain, the goat mode, the terrain selector. They all come with 4x4. What I'm really trying to get across, and the list goes on, but what I'm really trying to get across is that this vehicle is full of surprises, worth the test drive. I hope y'all consider test driving it, especially if you find the big or topless Bronco a little too expensive. I think this is a great alternative if you're on a budget. Power to Ford for bringing back the Bronco. Yeehaw, this thing, even tows, and it's towing more than a lot of the competition at 2,000 pounds out of a 1.5 liter EcoBoost engine. Little logos everywhere. It's just got a lot of nice surprises. So, please consider the Bronco Sport, give it a test drive, and if this video has been helpful, it really helped me out. If you like and you subscribe to the channel, because I've got new videos coming out. I'm going to have new Bronco news, and I'm going to have a Bronco, what's wrong with the 2.7 liter engine, part 2, where really I'm answering what, you know, a lot of people think there's something wrong with the 2.7 liter, or a whole lot wrong with the 2.7 liter engine from the big Bronco or topless Bronco. I'm going to cover exactly why that's not the case, and, you know, try to convince some people on this. I'm going to go talk about what you can do, what kind of power you can add to that engine by programming it. And I'm also going to be talking about suspension on the topless Bronco, because it's not going to be rough. It's not going to be this right here.
Where the paved roads leave off. Potholes and bumps and ruts can come as they will. Jeeps welded, rugged, and riveted frame takes punishment in large doses.
If you have watched the end and aren't offended and can take a joke, thank you very much. You know, it's just threw that in for some laughs. Videos coming up. If you want to see them and have easy access to them, please like and subscribe. The subscribing part lets you know when I've got a new video that comes out, and it helps me out. So thanks for joining the community. Thanks for watching. And remember, the goal is to have more cars and more power.